Okay, welcome to another episode of Conversations with Kevin. And today's guest is a long-term friend of mine, Tony Niester, and roommate. But, and today we're going to speak about, traveling a road. I've called this title "Traveling a Road Less Traveled," or "Taking a Road Less Traveled." That sounds a bit better. Taking a road less traveled, and I'm on about the personal development and spirituality path, and it can be quite lonely as you go along it. People react to you differently. Some people embrace it and curious, and most will resist it and think you're a little weird. And as you're going along that path as well, you're kind of left to your own devices. I remember when, for me, when I think one of the real turning points is like losing the business, losing the house, having a breakup, all of those things happening within like 3 months, and of my own doing. But it was obviously something that I needed to go through in order to sort of put myself in what I can see now as the right direction. But at the time, what people always think is that it's easy, and because you are ultimately, there is a greater sense of happiness there. There's also a feeling of being sort of stuck especially at the start, I'm stuck in the wilderness. I have no idea what I'm doing. There's a load of confusion, which doesn't really go away. You just manage it better, and you kind of, all of those types of things that are primarily a source of frustration are better accepted. Would that be a fair comment to say that you accept those things a bit better? But ultimately, it's an ongoing it's an ongoing process. It's a bit like the Matrix. Once you decide to take that path, you can't just like, oh, actually, I changed my mind. Sorry. It's just one of those things that you have to continue along, and you can slow down, but you just still have to continue along, and the pace is pretty much up to you. But going back, there is no real option to it. And I'm at a place now where I probably wouldn't want to, because at least I want to know when I'm unhappy, or have a chance of understanding why, and having some awareness and education around that, so I can then have the choice then to look for something else, create something else, design something else. It's funny, and when you speak to people that are at different levels, you just don't kind of meet them where they're at, or someone from your past especially, they'll be like, oh my God, you're so lucky to do this and lucky to do that. I'm like, dude, this luck has got nothing to do with anything. If I feel good within myself, that's not luck. That's a lot of that's a lot of soul searching. That's a lot of pain. Don't get me wrong, I still wouldn't change it for anything, but it's still a lot of work. And I don't think, one of the things I've come to terms with, and that's recently over the last year or two, is that you probably won't get to the end of it. There is no like definitive end. Like, yes, I've cracked it. I am like Buddha, God, whatever. It's just an ongoing thing. So I wanted to sort of, what are your thoughts on that, Tom? Where did it all start for you?
So I think for me, Kev, obviously, and you'd know this as well, I think ever since I was a child, I was always looking to kind of challenge what I was being told, and things just didn't make a lot of sense to me when I was a kid growing up. Parents and teachers would say the world is this way, but the way I was viewing it didn't seem real. And growing up back in the 70s stroke 80s, you were told to shut up. Children should be seen and not heard, and you kind of become a little bit more introspective, I guess is a good way to put it. And I just thought a lot. I was stuck in my head is probably a good way to describe it. And that changed, leave school, you kind of all those kind of things. And all of a sudden you're an adult and you're out in the world and you get sucked up into that kind of, that culture, which is around, from teenage years up into your 20s and beyond. And you get sucked up in that. And obviously then you have kids if that's what you decide, or you settle down, you get a house, all that kind of stuff. But really, the massive shift for me was the suicide of my brother, Mark, and that was 17th of November 2005. And I had a house, I had a beautiful daughter, beautiful girlfriend, going on holidays all over the world. I just finished university. I was running my own business, doing video production work, and I just had my first broadcast credits, TV commercials, all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, my brother's gone, and it's just like, what's going on? This isn't supposed to happen. The way that I was seeing my life and the way I was seeing my brother's life, although he was struggling, I never saw it at the level that he was at. And I remember a few nights afterwards of going out, and I just thought, I just need to see people. People are going to come up and speak to me about Mark and his passing and all this kind of stuff. And I just thought, I just need to get out there. And everybody come up to me. Some people would say, it's a selfish thing to do. It's the brave thing to do. And you'll never know. This is what people said to me. You'll never know why I did it. And in my head, I'm like, fuck you. Find out why he did it. And I made that kind of my goal in life. And it took a while, 6 months down the line, 6 to 8 months down the line, I was drinking, and basically I was turning inwards again. I was becoming very, very small, and I ended up going to see a counselor. And I just said, I feel like I'm ripping my life. Outside, I've got the perfect house. If you look at the outside, everything's clean, and there's a car on the drive, and there's people going in and out. But inside, I'm taking a hammer and I'm smashing it to pieces, and I can't stop. I literally can't stop. And that kind of started my journey of my thoughts and feelings, and through that process come the thing of, do you know what, if the roles were reversed and I had done that and my brother was still here, what would I want for my brother? What would be the thing that I would want for him? Best thing that I would want for him is to be the best person that he could be. And that was kind of what started this process. And don't get me wrong, I was still doing dumb shit.
And you still will. Just hopefully less of it. Yeah, of course.
Just less of it. And I just went through this kind of, it felt, and it still feels now, even though it's become more powerful, and kind of once the ball starts rolling, once it's really rolling, it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't stop unless you want to stop. You can stop, but what's the point? As tough as it is, I've already done stuff that I never thought possible, emotionally, spiritually, people looking at you in a different way, sometimes very, very critically, but having to stand kind of in your truth, be it good or bad, or what. I don't see it as good or bad. It's just the truth.
Yeah, for sure.
But people will see it. Oh, you did this. This is good. Or people will see it. You
from their perception. Yeah, of course.
From their perception of it. Yeah. And that's a key part, I think, is that actually you just start to realize, actually, there is no good, bad, black, white, truth, non-truth, whatever the term is. But it's everything's a learning experience. It's a lesson. You choose whether to have the lesson. You can either look at it and go, do you know what? Actually, I did something that I'm not proud of. And it's caused guilt, and we all feel guilt at some stage. And it's just prepared. When I felt that before, I'd run. I don't want to be here. I don't want to feel them feelings.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you chuck it at someone else. That mine. That's yours. You have it. And I think that's what's kind of walking that path's about, is all of a sudden you start to realize, oh, actually, who's this about? Who's this about? Is this about me or is it about them?
Yeah, sure.
And I think one of the biggest lessons I learned is where my boundaries are. I just constantly say to people, yeah, I'll do this, yeah, I'll do that, yeah, I'll do this. And I constantly there. And then when I'm there, I'm like resenting.
Yes. Yeah. I've done that. Yeah.
Everybody's to blame apart from me.
Yeah.
From me, because I kept saying yeah. And that was a really, really difficult lesson. And kind of another part of it is taking ownership of saying to someone, actually, in past, before, it was really difficult for me to tell someone how I felt. I kind of grew up in an environment where you were just expected to not necessarily give, but there was an expectation of you. And that meant about meeting people and kind of being respectful and kind of, trying to meet other people's needs rather than your own. Yeah,
for sure.
And I never saw that. I never saw that till the last 18 months, 2 years. 44 years I was doing that. And I thought I was a conscious being. I thought I was spiritual and all the rest of it. And I think that was the toughest the toughest part is being able to look at yourself objectively and say, wow, you know, I think some of the things I've done in my life, I did at an unconscious level. I was unaware of the kind of destruction that I'd left behind in my path.
Yeah, of course.
And when you realize that and you have to sit with that, no one wants to do that.
No.
There's the conversation we had, 18 months ago. It's like, that's a shit. That's not a shit sandwich. That's an all-you-can-eat buffet.
It's true.
You know, tuck in, son. Tuck in. It's all there for you.
Yeah.
It is. It's like eating a shit sandwich. It's not pleasant.
No. I was going to ask you actually, what to date, what do you think after all this stuff you've gone through is it could be in the form of a lesson or whatever, but what is the biggest benefit that this kind of journey's given you so far? Yourself.
I think what happened, you know, is obviously I've got, you know, everybody knows me as Tony, but my real name's Kim. And, you know, and when I was 7 or 8, I changed schools. My parents split up. I hated the name Kim. I was named after my uncle that passed away. For a 7-year-old, it's like, why have you done that?
Yeah,
Does that mean I'm going to die? Does that mean I'm going to die? I don't want that name. And plus, it was a girl's name. It's like, I don't want a girl's name.
Yeah.
My second name, so I used Tony. And now I look back on it with these eyes. It's like, actually, I created another person.
Yeah.
Totally created another person, Tony.
Yeah, sure.
By name, by how you presented in the world, and kind of over the last few years been slowly killing that off, for want of a better word. And it's painful. It's like peeling the skin off, you know, and then you step outside, the gentle wind brushes against you, and it's pain.
Yeah, for sure.
Pain for the whole body, and you can't get away from it. It's not pleasant.
No.
And it's always good to have good friends like yourself. You know, I have some very, very good friends that, you know, just sit there, just hold the space. But I didn't really know what that meant until a few years ago, you know?
Yeah.
There's no judgment. There's nothing there. You can say whatever you want. I'm not going to judge you. I'm just going to be here. And if you want me to ask you a question or answer something, or I feel the need to, I'll do it. It's something really powerful in that. You just have to sit, and if someone's sitting there with you, you get through it a little bit easier.
I remember when it's funny, you just said something just now, and it reminded me of a moment when we were away in Bali and we did some work, and you said one of the feedback sessions, I think it was either the next day in the morning or after one of the sessions, and you said, and this is kind of like, I don't want to call it an ego death for people to go, oh, what the hell does that mean? But you said there's a painful kind of, when you're restructuring or getting rid of Tony and stepping into Kim, there's like a mourning process almost. But I remember you saying like, okay, I've unearthed all this stuff, but who the fuck am I now? I don't know. You don't know who you are. How did you? Because we've not had this conversation. But how did you navigate that from sort of then to now? Because there's a period of space. Did you just have to wait and let things drop in, or did you actively go looking for stuff? Or
I think once you start this path, there becomes a knowing. It's an experience. It's like love. Love is an experience to the individual that's experiencing it. It's not something you can truly define in words. And I think that's what it was. And it's kind of like I said, the term standing in your truth. They're all about the same thing, being present. There's something about being, being in the space, and just, what is this about? Who is this about? You know, and I'm lucky, you know, I and I would advise anybody to go and get a counselor, a therapist, you know, a coach, whatever, or someone that's walked to this journey, someone that's experienced it, because, you know, and I'll just call her Jay. I'm not going to use her name. Almost, but you know, and I went and met a load of them beforehand. You just quickly go over this, and free half an hour, you know, free half an hour here, free 45 minutes here, or an hour or whatever. And I knew as soon as I met her, just by the way she held herself, she had no shoes and socks on, she just sat on her chair and folded her legs. And I don't know what it meant about that. The right decision. I just knew that she was the right person. And I look at her as somebody that it feels like the child addressing the parent, even though it's not that. And sometimes it is that, from that dynamic. But I looked to her for advice. I ask, and she'll give she'll give me examples
Right.
of what I could use, and we discuss it, and then I get to choose. And I think the thing is when you kind of when you start shifting all that stuff, making a decision from a conscious place rather than something that you're reacting to. It's powerful, man. That is truly making a conscious decision. This is the thing, this is what I've learned, is you can read as many books and go on as many courses as you like and get the intellectual concept. If you haven't done it...
No. All the learning's in the doing, isn't it? For sure.
It is.
Well, that's a meme. That's a meme. yeah.
And it is. You're right. You know, and the kicker for this is that I chose this journey. Even though at times it's been painful, you know, not sleeping. You know, I went for a stage of grinding my teeth. I've literally cracked one of my teeth from grinding my teeth because of the stress. You know, and I'm not saying that to turn people off. That's just how I was dealing with it. That was my stuff. That's what I had to go through. That's what I wanted. I absolutely asked for it. I know specifically the day and when and where I was when I asked for it. And after then, it was like rocket propelled. Like I said, it started rolling down, and it has its own energy now.
Sure.
You know, nothing shifts for me until I'm ready, and I don't even know when it is consciously. I don't sometimes, you know, I'm discussing it and I'm playing with them. It's like, well, what is that? I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable. It's like one day, just please stop. 2 days, 3, and bang.
Drops
and
in.
I think it has to do with surrendering to it. You're not fighting it. There's not this oscillation between I am one thing and who you truly are, and you fight between those 2 points until you just, this part of you that's your ego or whatever you want to call it, just says, you know what, I'm done. And then whatever it is just drops in. You're like, oh, why didn't I think of that before? It's really simple, but it's not about thinking. It's about being able to give it up. Because if there's anything, someone comes to tell you something, you don't believe it. It's outside of your realm of understanding of what a belief is. I saw an alien. No, you didn't.
No, you couldn't have done. I
don't believe it. Do you know what I mean? So it's that process. It's not easy. You know, it really isn't easy.
And something you touched on just then as well. You said something about finding a coach or somebody else, a mentor or a therapist and whatever. And it's funny because there's a massive stigma attached to this, but this life game you can't do by yourself. And it's all right having like your friends and stuff around you, but I think if you're looking to do some deep work and some transformational work, then there needs to be some sort of level of, like you said, expertise and definitely knowledge and experience for sure, life experience, for someone to sort of help facilitate that and allow you to go through those things. And it's a shame that that it's expensive, not readily available. So you still have to, most people, you have to fund things yourself, or you get, you know, if you're in the UK on the NHS, it's just the National Health sort of scheme, then that's it. But for me, and I'm sure you'll agree, this type of work, or going to see other people and whatever, and trying this out and trying that, is probably it's a bit of a cliche, but it's the biggest investment that you can do, spend on yourself, because the payback is 10, 20, 100-fold, you know? Yeah, for sure. So what was the process for you to finding that woman? How did you actually even know that you wanted to see someone?
I just had a child with someone. I was in a relationship, and it wasn't a great relationship, you know. We both made mistakes in it. You know, and I don't want to talk about her because it would be unfair. She's not here to defend herself, you know, but I kind of lost everything in that. You know, my home, my children lost their home. Lots of things followed, you know, a number of things followed that. I had to take a real hard look at myself, you know, and in part I'm still going through some of that stuff now. And there was only 2 options for me, which was do it on my own, which at one point was really frightening, you know, because one of the things that I would always tell myself is when it got too painful, I want to be with my brother. You know, Mark, I want to see him. And I would never do that because I've never devastation that it leaves. And actually, I want to stay here. You know, I want to experience life. And actually, experiencing life is fucking painful. It's not, you know, big cars and all the rest of it. They're great things to have, and more power to people that have all those things. But that can be taken away in an instant. If you ain't got your health, you ain't got nothing.
Nothing, yeah,
it takes away your legs, or your ability to see or to communicate. Not that you don't have nothing, because that's disrespectful to the people that don't. But compared to what you had and what you didn't appreciate at the time, because it's a gift.
For sure.
Gift. Life is truly a gift. And, you know, I wish I could breathe that in at every moment and understand it. I can't, you know, because I get caught up in life the same as everybody else. I think that's the thing, is people think that you will somehow just, and then all of a sudden you're, praise the Lord, I'm free.
Yeah.
It's not like that. You said at the beginning, it's a journey. There's no end.
No
Destination.
No.
There is no destination. And that's the same as in anything. But that comes, the reason there's no destination is because you're constantly learning, no matter how old you are, if you want.
If you want, yeah. I think one of the things as well you're constantly learning about is, and I know you've had that, if you were to take ownership of everything in and around your environment, like you said, the fallout from that breakup was massive, and yet you knew this is like the test for you, because you knew that was still the right thing to do. So bearing in mind that all those external things going on for you, and you know, the risk of, you know, whatever, you know, whatever's going on in your mind, thinking, you know, because we always catastrophize, right? What's the worst case scenario? So with all that being said, there's an element of truth that sort of sits within you, within your core. But within all of that chaos that obviously you've created, and it's part of your reality, in order for you to sort of navigate through, what are the signs? Obviously you know it to be true what you're doing, but what are the kind of signs that have like managed to keep you sane, at least? Do you see what I mean, as you're going through that sort of things?
I think, you know, keep me on track here, because I often go off and just start talking about something different. But it's like, I think the first sign for me is there was something wrong in the relationship. I put my finger on what it specifically was, but I truly love this woman. You know, I committed to her like I hadn't committed to anybody else in my previous relationships, and really tried to make it work, but something wasn't working. You know, now obviously I was saying it was all her. It wasn't all her. You know, some of it was me, but it wasn't a healthy relationship for anybody to be in. You know, and I think that stepping away from that, I knew that was coming. And there was a point. It was like, actually, I can't go back. I need to leave. And I left. And then there was well, can we work it out? Can we not work it out? And we tried that for 6 months. That didn't work either. You know, and that, unfortunately, now we don't talk. And I think the first thing was, what was me? What was her contribution? And it's very difficult, especially if you are working with a counselor or a coach or whatever, is obviously that person's only got what you tell them.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You're one of 2 people that was actually in that conversation. So and we have when we're doing unconscious stuff, we're not seeing it. That's the problem. When we're doing things on an unconscious level, we're not aware. And so I think once you start this work, you start to question, right, is this me or is this the other person? And you say, well, I know that this to be true because someone else saw that, or I know this to be true because I have a text message or an email or whatever, or a Facebook post, whatever it is. There'll be some other kind of reference to it. But then there comes this, like I said, that looking at yourself, you kind of peer around and view yourself. It's like, okay, what is, and you just keep looking and you keep looking, and then one day, you know, it's like, well, actually, I think that was me. That wasn't me. Then it's just like, you know, you cry, you kind of, whatever needs to come out comes out. Yeah. That's I'm not going to say it's the easy part. I think the hardest part was compassion for myself. It's something that I understood what the word means. Again, it's like love. It's an experience.
Of course.
To be compassionate to yourself, it's something no one's taught.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did. If it was being taught, I missed the lesson. I don't know where that was. You know, and that was a real difficult thing, to be compassionate. First of all, compassionate to myself. You know, and we had this conversation, you know, the other day about something, you know, and I'm learning as this goes on, the lessons come quicker and quicker and quicker. And being compassionate for yourself was the first part. Now, if I wasn't compassionate for myself, I wouldn't have been able to do the next part, because the next part was the light shining right on me. Being able to forgive myself for that. And that's what I said. It's that kind of, you realize, actually, I've done this in this relationship, and I've done this in every, you know, we have attachment styles. You know,
of course we do. Yeah.
Styles and behavior styles, and so many different, we're such complex creatures. And when you realize that you've done that, you know, you didn't go to the shop and go, do you know what? I'll take that pattern.
Of course.
It's given to us and learn through from when we're young, from our caregivers, from our teachers, from, you know, the people that we look up to as a child. These people know the world, they're living in it. They're bigger than us, stronger than us. They understand the world better than us. We're looking to those people to understand our world. And at times those people failed us, not because they're bad people, but because they're doing the same shit that we're doing right now, although we're trying to change it. I'm not saying they've not gone through their change. It does happen as people get older. It's like, well, what the hell is life about?
Yeah, exactly.
What is it about?
Yeah.
You know, and I just think that, you know, there's no blame. It'd be easy to blame caregivers and whoever else was an adult. You know, football coaches bawling you out, or whatever, you know, whatever it was when you were younger. Yeah. And you've held on to that because you felt shame, you felt guilt. You know, and those are key things. Being able to kind of forgive not only yourself, but then forgive the other people. It's not about blame. This journey is not about blame. There's no one to blame.
No.
You're carrying all that shit around you, and, you know, the counselor said it's like a rucksack full of stones. So often you just take a stone out of your rucksack and you throw it on the floor. So one day, hopefully, there's nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which is probably when the time you get to the top of the mountain, and before you even get to view it, you just drop dead. So, you know, that's probably, I know that's not a good way to talk about it, but it's, you know, that's probably what life is about. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey and how you make it there.
It's funny because there's I'm not sure, it would be interesting to see what your take on it is, because like you said, that stuff gets handed down to us, and then that's been handed down to them, and so on and so on and so forth. So it's kind of generational, and it's almost like it's inherited, and you could quite literally say that those types of things are in your bloodline, right? And that you don't, if you're lucky, you get to you kind of have two births, the first one, and then the one when you're around sort of your late 30s and 40s, when you're like, shit, hang on a minute. So people call that a midlife crisis, or, you know, when the old man goes and buys a Ferrari and starts wearing like 20-year-old clothes and stuff. But it's not, it's a bit more cliche than that. It's a bit more than that sort of archetypal cliche that people present. And what's really interesting to me is that, do you think that because of all this, the level of consciousness that we're in at this point in time and it's not in our lives, I think it's in the world, do you think then, for instance, your children will have a grasp of this? They're obviously going to anyway, because of how you've switched things. So as much as possible, some of these negative patterns will stop with you. But equally, do you think that the younger generations below us will have a bit more of an insight, so they're not waiting until they're like, at least waiting until they're 40? Maybe the midlife crisis comes in at 20 now, or something like that.
I'd like to think so, but I think what you're talking about there is like the environmental things. If you just read some of the stuff in the media about how things are worded, it's really clever. You don't see it unless you're looking for it.
True.
You know, it's used to make us think about whatever it is they're talking about. It's a skill. It's a skill, and I think it's very difficult, as you well know. You know, it doesn't matter who you're speaking to. If you're working as a coach, or, you know, in many of my job roles, I'm working with someone, could have been through drugs or alcohol or mental health, and they sit down with you and you do some work with them, and they're completely charged. Yes, I get it. They walk out that door, and 30 minutes later, that you can. It's the environment. We have to change that. You know, there's a lot of talk about, oh, men need to talk. No, people listen.
Yeah.
People need to listen, and it's this thing of, well, men, you don't talk. No, we do talk. Lots of us talk. Lots of women talk. There's lots of women that don't talk too. You know, for the same reasons that some men don't. I don't think it's about a gender thing. It's just about a human being thing and where you're at. And it's like, if we stop saying things like, this person doesn't talk, or this group of people don't talk, and we just say, we encourage everybody to talk, whether we like it or not. I think some of the most, it's changing. You know, obviously it doesn't feel like you're free to say. You have to count, you know, if you're telling something about, you know, a person of color, oh, well, you know, my dad's black. You know, or my friend is black. You know, that sounds bad, but you know, I'm saying that as because my dad is mixed race. My dad's black. It's pretty obvious, but I think or your friend is black, or my friend is a transvestite. If you're going to say, you know, you have to put that in there, because words can be construed. You know, and on social media, how many times have we seen? Well, you said this in 2013.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Come on now.
You know, think about how much you've changed in 6 years. How much anybody's changed in 6 years. To hold someone to account to something they said 6 years ago, it's crazy. You know, this time stamping of comments that we make wherever they are. We've got to be so careful. You know, and things that you send in a text, someone keeps.
Yeah, for sure.
Go wrong to that person, and then that's brought out. And something that could be innocuous is construed. And this is the thing with words, is they can be construed in the cold light of day in a completely different way. You know, we all know how to send a text message when we're emotional.
Yeah, right.
If I say the right thing, it's going to come out in the wrong way, right? And it's exactly the same. It's just that stuff gets used against us. So I think, going back to the original question, for my children and for children born around this, things are changing. You know, you see meditation in schools and kind of mindfulness and kind of all these kind of things of self. You are. They still don't teach you about some of the stuff that needs to be taught. You know, you don't walk out of school and, you know, you use your GCSE history or geography as soon as you walk out the gates. Do you know what I mean? But you would need to use your emotional regulation. You know, we don't teach, this kid, you know, and there seems to be a rush for parents to label their children with disabilities. I know that sounds bad. Yeah,
sure. No, I agree with that. Yeah.
The hate, you know, I honestly think I was disruptive in class. It had nothing to do with me having ADHD. I probably could have got diagnosed with that, given some form of, you know, medication, you know, Ritalin or whatever it is. And I would have been stuck on that. And then I would have been labeled ADHD. I have a disability.
Special needs,
Special needs. Actually, emotionally, I was struggling. I wanted, you know, I always wanted a big brother. I didn't mind a little brother. I wanted a big brother so I could talk to him. There was no big brother there for me to say, you know, what is this? You know, how do I figure this out? This girl that I like, all the kind of things that you go through as a teenager, you know, which is when you look back, it's a tough time.
Tough, yeah, for sure.
You've got to fit into groups. Where do I sit in all these different layers? These complex layers of groups, you know, and I used to flip between friends. You know, I used to like being here for a couple of days, and then I didn't like what they did, and I'd be over here, and or I'd be on my own. I like my own company. You know, I'm comfortable in my own company, but I also like being with my groups of friends and enjoying it. But it's a tough thing to navigate. You know, it'd be great to give this knowledge to young people already.
Yeah, that's true. You've got to be willing to hear it. Some adults answer, how are you going to get, you know, how are you going to expect the kids to?
Sorry to cut you off. You know, I did some work with when it was Mental Health Awareness Day, and there was a youth forum in Swindon. Shout out to all those people that attended and all the different groups that were there. And I met some amazing teenagers. Some absolutely stood in a room with their peers of 200, giving these speeches about bullying and their mental health issues. I'm like, wow. I don't think I could do that, you know, last year.
Yeah.
In that way. And they're doing it at 16, 17, 18, 19, some of them younger. But these young people have experienced trauma.
Sure.
You know, bullying, you know, mental health issues. You're forced to look at, you know, speaking to them, I don't want to speak for them, but the ones I did, I knew I was different. Like I said at the you kind of know.
No, yeah, you do. Yeah.
Kind of know. You don't fit into take it off the shelf the same as everybody else. You're all the same.
Mm.
But like the Russian dolls, you're all exactly the same, but in just different shape, different sizes.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a Russian doll.
Yeah.
I want to be a me doll. The wonky carrot at the end of the thing instead of the straight cat. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's what I wanted to be.
Mm.
And I think that a lot of the young people that I was listening to there, they had also they I don't want to say they were different because it's wrong for me to say that, but that was the thing that I took away from it. Interpreting it, what they were saying is, I'm different because of my sexuality or the way I look or because of my mental health problems, my anxiety. I can't go and do that. I know I'm different because I don't fit in.
Yeah.
There are many people like that now.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that I have hope for.
Mm. And I'm wondering sorry to cut you off. I'm wondering if that part of that is actually when we're looking at these things that we're meant to fit into, they are false constructs to start with, and they seem even more flimsy than they were sort of when we were younger. So they're kind of doesn't you want to everyone's doing this or everyone's doing this dance or playing this game or doing whatever, and if you don't, you're kind of odd or weird and you just don't fit into. What do you mean you like this or you like that? You know what I mean? It's kind of it can be quite a lonely place as well, and to be ostracized, especially as a young person not knowing how to deal with that, it can be quite a challenge.
I think and I've always said this, and I don't know whether I'm looking back through time with my rose-tinted glasses on. As a child growing up, I always wanted to be a mod. I was way too young to be a mod. I always wanted to be a mod. I've always wanted a scooter, and I will get a scooter one day. It's and you had mods, you had rockers, you had skins, you had punk, you had goth, you had new romantics, you had all these different things, and then you had like hip hop, and then you had house music, and ravers, and there just seemed to be all that you could go wherever you want. That you could flit around. And they weren't commercialized. None of that stuff was played. You're right, like lots of pop artists in the 80s took on the new romantic look, and many others from hip hop and stuff, but they weren't mainstream.
No,
they weren't commercially sold. The clothes weren't. You had to create that stuff yourself. It was a form of being a part of something, but putting your own spin on it. Now it's not your own spin. You kind of what your jeans have to look like. This is what your trainers have to look like, and normally it's the most expensive. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, commercial.
It's not about what it looks like. It's like the most expensive. My shoes cost £1,000. It doesn't matter. Like they look like them naff shoes that no one would have worn back in the 80s. Like they have calipers attached to them. They look like Clarks. They look god awful. I can Clarks off, but they look god awful shoes. You wouldn't have worn them, but because they cost £1,000, and I think that's. People are starting, look at even social media now. People are starting to look at it and go, actually, I've still got it, but I take it off my phone. So I'm not looking at it. So when I get home, I may have a look for half an hour and connect, and then I'm done. I'm starting to
get bored of it,
Turn away from it, and what the hell is an influencer? Who are you to call yourself? I don't want to be disrespectful to people because there's some amazing people out there doing some amazing stuff, and there are lots of good people out there. Don't call yourself, why would you call yourself something that you're influencing people? Let the people you're influencing call you an influencer. Sure, of course. But it's the ego can kind of just take over anything, even if you feel spiritual.
For sure.
And I sat in circles and I've done demonstrations and stuff a long time ago, and was always learning. There's no such thing as you've passed grade. There's no exam. You just keep going and you keep learning. And I remember someone saying to me when they were teaching me, "It's like your ego will kill you if you think you get up there and you're giving someone a message. They won't give you nothing. You just stand there like you're just a bloke in the middle of the room. People say something and you ain't got nothing to say. And I think that's so the ego can kind of take over. So even though you think you're doing something good, potentially you're doing it for. You may well still be doing things that are good, but potentially you could be doing it for the wrong reasons. And I think that's part of this thing is, why am I doing this? And the amount of times I've caught myself saying something, it's like, oh, why did I just say that?
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to change the outcome of this conversation.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard catching yourself before you say it. Too late once it's gone. You just have to apologize.
Yeah.
If you want to.
If you want to. Or you're aware of your intention. Yeah.
Become aware of your intention. Why am I saying it? Learn it. as children. They look to, you know, you smile sweetly and you do what your mum or your dad wants or whatever, and you make them laugh, or you do something nice and everybody laughs in the room. And they get sweet, you get a pat, you feel good.
Yeah.
You learn it. We learn. Oh, actually, I can do this because history has taught me that if I do X, Y, and Z, I can get whatever it is I want, or I can get this at the end of it. So
yeah. And here's the thing. From the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep, that oscillation between ego and your true self, higher self, or whatever you want to call it, is at play. It's always it's in constant flux back and forth. So therefore, the only thing that having the awareness around that then means that you can, like you just said, check in yourself. Where's that coming from? Why am I going to communicate that? What do I need to see? What's going? It's kind of, which is why you can't hold on to stuff when you lose. Because you're winning and losing on a more often than you actually think that you are. On a subconscious level, you're winning and losing all the time. Sometimes your ego's won, other times something else you've won. Your true self has won, and you've got a bit further on. And therein then lies the practice, isn't it? It's just like some stuff's bigger, some's minor, some's major, and it may not affect anybody else. Energetically, it might, if you want to go down that route, but it's that constant observation when you first start doing things can be fucking exhausting, right? It's because you want to monitor everything because there's a preference to the positive rather than, you know what I mean? Right? And then, I don't want the negative. I don't want that. Do you see what I mean? When actually, dude, like you just said earlier, own it. It's the whole thing. It's the whole pie.
And this is the thing, is once you start owning the negative as well as the positive things, they stop becoming positive or negative. They just
are. Yeah, exactly.
You know, someone's explained that to me, and you don't grasp the concept. Like a light switch, it's either on or off. It can't be on and off at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, either I can be this or I can be that. And it's hard to explain to someone who hasn't done it. It's actually both.
Yeah.
You can be both.
Yeah.
It's just how you think about it. Or the another way to look at it, the easiest way to look at it is, what can I learn? What can I learn from this experience?
Exactly. Because there's value in that. Yeah.
That's where you said that's where the values, that's where the gold is. You know, for a better word, that's a term that's thrown around a lot, is the things that you suppress. You also suppressing other things about your personality in there. You don't want to show them to the world.
No.
You know, we've been told not to. You know, how many times have you heard, you know, and I've done this, I'll hold my hand up, especially when my children were younger, don't do this, don't do that, please be quiet.
Yeah.
We're telling our kids to be quiet. There's 2-3-year-olds running around, touching stuff and putting it in their mouth, and don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. We're telling them not to experience, not to play. Imagine if you were brought up to, you'd probably go slightly mad, you know, because you want the environment to support that.
Yeah.
Environment, and this is the problem. I don't know the answer to that. I wish I did. You know, that's something that I could ponder for the rest of my life. Is even if people change, obviously it's going to have to be enough people to change the environment.
Sure.
But some people ain't going to want to change. They love their life.
Yeah, of course.
Regardless of whether they're unconsciously hurting people. And that's the shame. Is if you can't do see it, then that's wrong. You know?
Yeah. If you do see it and you see it do it anyway, then that's a whole different thing. Yeah,
that's
for sure. True.
You know, and when you're doing this work, you'll realise that actually you've done that.
All that stuff you detest, you've done. It's part of you, which is why you detest it.
You know, and you're talking about winning and losing. It's like, if you set out to win, you've already lost.
Yeah.
It's a win-lose game. It's not about that. It's about what can I learn about myself and what can I learn about my world. And once you change, once you hold that space for yourself, you can then step into your space. And then I wouldn't say they're forced, but the way you are, or if you don't respond to a manipulation via like a conversation, that's people, well, why is that not happening? That usually works. And if they're reflective enough, they can take that away. So, well, why didn't that work?
Yeah.
Especially in relationships with partners. If you're both doing this sort of work, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I can't, to be able to say to someone, you know, and I still have periods where I'm just like, I feel like I'm 8 years old and I just want to run.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's like, right, I know this isn't about my other half. This is all about me.
Yeah.
It's about me.
Yeah, of course.
And this is you get to know when it's about you. It's no one else. Start to check. Well, is she doing anything differently? No. She said it upset me. No. And once you start saying these questions, you feel your energy in your body shift a little bit. Like you're getting close.
Yeah.
You get to feel these very, when you deal with emotional stuff. First of all, I'll explain it this way. It was like I'm stood in the sea and the waves are just exhausting. Now sometimes, and don't get me wrong, sometimes them waves do come out of nowhere. You open something up and you realise you've done something. Fuck, man. This time it's like having your feet in the pond and someone throws a stone. It's like, what's that? You have to do it. You have to do it. All right, I know there's something here for me. And it takes a lot of searching and playing around with, and it is. Sometimes it can be fun. It's a little game. Learning about yourself and about feet. Oh my God! You hear something. This is one of the things that I found. I had a conversation with my mum, and I won't disclose what the conversation is, but we'd had this conversation for the last 35 years. And she said the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again to me. This time I heard what she said. The last time we had this conversation, which was a year ago, I heard exactly what she said. She hadn't said it any different. It was just me, because in the back of my head is like, you are my mum. That's all I said to myself. You are my mum. This time I stopped that. My voice had stopped, and I actually heard what was going on for her. And from that come forgiveness.
Sure.
And just this new kind of relationship just opened up between us. So it's that's some of the things that you get. Something that you think is solid is inflexible. I know that this happened. And, that's when you know that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's what's wrong. When you start saying to yourself, I know this is what I believe. You want to rock.
It's dangerous. Because when it inevitably breaks, you're just left, and you're left in no man's land in a whole world of pain, in a whole world of trauma. So it's funny. I wrote a post on that today, and on that very thing. So if you then have I think that's something like, if you have the expectation to be flexible and malleable and things that you don't know it all. Do you know what I mean? I think it was what did I say? Something like the man that knows it all is the most ignorant of all, and you have to allow yourself that time to change my mind. Stuff I believe, some of the stuff, my beliefs set now is completely different to what it was even a year ago, and definitely 10 years ago, so that is a slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope, and it's there's a quote by Joseph Campbell that I love, and I'm paraphrasing here because I probably got something wrong, and it really stuck with me when I was really in the middle of this really painful journey. And there are two types of men in the world, and they're both sat with their families at a table. One man will get up and leave the house for 2 years and then return to his family. The other man will sit there and watch his children get up and leave.
Right.
And I took that to mean is actually it's up to you to make the change, to stop whatever it is that you've been given and not pass on to your children. It's kind of, you don't have to do that. Need that change, and I've kind of reveled in that since I've read that. It's kind of actually I can be the change in my family, for my immediate children and for my brother and for my sister and for my friends, hopefully, that you can potentially do that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think once you start the journey, you get drawn to something. I don't know how to describe that. You're just drawn to
there's a calling, It's funny you say about Joseph Campbell, because that is very much all the stuff we're talking about is very much the hero's journey, as he so eloquently puts it. You are literally there's a calling, you're drawn to something, then there's this you meet some guides along the way, and then you're literally going to go through some sort of death or sacrifice of your old self, only to be reborn again. And to slay your dragons, defeat the demons and whatever, and only to be reborn again as something, you're still you, but almost a lighter better, for want of another word, 5.0 version of yourself.
Yeah.
And that cycle is as what he calls the hero's journey. But this is why we love some of the films that we love, because a lot of them are based on that premise. We love an underdog story as a human being, because you're coming from the depths of despair to rise victorious. There's no better story. You can feel it. It resonates. The first time I saw Rocky, Jesus, I was buzzing. I couldn't believe it. And there's loads of films just like that. You never get tired of it. You never get tired of watching those types of films. It could be in cartoons as well, which is fantastic actually for young people to see as well. But I had something else I was going to say to you. So you're going through this flux. I love that you said that actually there is no one or other, that they're actually the same thing. There is no actually win or lose. There just is that thing. So within that thing, is there any, I don't want to say tools and techniques, because that kind of seems a bit hardwired as such, but what have you noticed about yourself when you're going through those things, and you've seen an opposite side and countered it? Is there any time when can you give me an example of when you've done that and flipped it around? Because some people would call this in real time, like at the alchemic process. You're turning lead into gold or whatever, because you've just, oh shit, okay, that is kind of bad, but I've got, what's the lesson here? I've got now I've got the lesson, and do you see what I mean? And the thing doesn't manifest again, or you've grown, or whatever it is. Is there any sort of example that you could share?
I think going back to my previous relationship, it was a tough one, and it's something that I'm still dealing with to this day. It's had a huge effect on me, and resentment was a huge part of that, and dealing with that, and and I would always tell myself, why has she done this to me? Why has she done this? This is what's going through my head. Why has this happened to me? I don't know why it's happened to me, but this is how I'm playing it out. When you're on that ride, when you're surfing that wave, you're on it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And so this was painful for about 4 or 5 days, and I couldn't be with my other half. I could be with her, but I was distant. I literally, what happens to me, this is how I deal with it, is normally I'm outward, I'm bubbly, I'm kind of engaging, and then literally when I'm feeling something, it's like,
yeah, sure.
Literally everything's inside my body. My awareness is not outside, nothing. How I touch, how I talk to people, and kept saying, why has she done this to me? I've never done that to anybody. And then there was just this moment. What I feel like, nope, was the thing that comes straight back out of my head. Nope.
Yeah.
Day later, whatever time it was later, it's like, again, nope, not having it. And what I was starting to try and do is like, well, what if I am like her, but I'm not as bad? Nope. And I'm trying to add caveats. This. I'm trying to kind of worm my way. This is what your ego does to you. You don't want to admit stuff, so you're kind of worming. You're contouring your body into whatever it needs to be in order not to admit to what you don't think you are.
Yeah.
And then I just said, I am. And literally, I cried, first of all, because I realized that I've caused other people pain. Exactly how I was feeling. That's horrible. So really, you can't, but that's why people don't do it.
For sure.
Why people don't do it. It's painful. As human beings, we want to connect. We don't want to believe that we can hurt people, that we can make them cry, make them feel bad, literally make them question their own existence, their own self. And I had to sit with that. But what happened over a period of time is, a number of hours, it just disappeared. Oh, what the hell is that? What is that? And I just felt like, I think I tipped half my rucksack out there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
There was this huge shift for me. And it was just like, okay, don't get me wrong, I still have resentful moments, I still do, because I'm a human being. I said you don't learn everything, but something shifted for me. And over a period of time, I'm sure that will go. You know, I'm convinced of that will shift. When? Who knows? When I'm ready. My body or whatever it is no one really knows what we're talking about here. This is the thing. We're talking about something. Where it is it here? Is it up there? Is it over there? Who knows?
Yeah.
But that was, you know, that was a point for me. It's just like, and actually it feels like I was very, very compassionate with myself. But if I wasn't, I couldn't have done that, because I would have blamed myself. You're a bad person.
Yeah.
I would have drilled myself into the ground and felt like, which in turn would have meant I don't go to the gym, I start eating shit food, you know, start drinking, you know, become an alcoholic or anything, but I start abusing myself.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Look around us what human beings are doing to themselves.
Yeah.
Unconsciously.
They do anything to try and sort of mask that pain or relieve that tension somehow, when it's actually highly destructive to them as a being. Yeah.
You just think about it. That's the thing. You become aware of it. It was new comfort eated. I remember, you know, 12, 13 years ago, having breakfast and then driving to McDonald's. McDonald's breakfast. I wasn't even hungry.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there feeling guilty. Why have I just eaten that?
Yeah.
In pain. In absolute pain. No one told me that. So I just kept, this is the thing. No one told me that. I knew it wasn't right, but who was I going to turn to? This is the thing we talk about, you know, and it is difficult. We're saying about changing our environment. You know, men need to talk more. Can you imagine, as a man, you played football, right? Going into your football changing room. You know, guys, I don't really fancy it today. I'm feeling really anxious.
Yeah, I'm really.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. You're, and it's no different. If someone said that to me, I'd be exactly the same. You know, we don't have any. You know, you think back into this. I can't really remember the 70s, but the 80s. You know, you rarely saw gay people out kissing. Now it's just accepted. Yeah. The world is you know moved on. I remember my grandmother talking about dating a black man in the 50s. No.
Yeah, of course.
No. Even in the 70s when my parents were together, no still. It's no problem now. And it's going to take time for the environment to change. All of us to, and we all have it. Talk to want to fix them, because damn, it's easier to fix you than it is to even look at my shit. Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
You know, I've got all the tools to fix you, but every tool you need. Actually, when it comes to ourselves, we haven't even got a toolbox. We haven't got nothing. Look around. There's just
nothing.
On the floor.
Just a screwdriver.
there's nothing. There's nothing for us apart from a crate of alcohol or some drugs.
Yeah.
Some other way to distract from the absolute. You know, and people don't realise it's pain. They don't realise it at the time.
No, they don't.
You know, I remember doing part of my coaching course was doing something on anxiety and vulnerability. And I remember walking in there. I mean, I don't get anxious. Like, in a few days, I'm like, you dick. Yeah. You've always been anxious. Yeah. But what I do is, I'm tired. If someone wanted to speak to me, I'm tired. Was my default, or I don't want to talk.
Shut down. Yeah.
Because no one had explained to me, actually, whatever that is that you're feeling, it's okay. This is the thing. When I work in education and in a special needs part, and some of the kids that I work with have, you know, over the years have had behavioural problems. And one of the things you say to them is, it's okay to want to pick the chair up and fucking launch it through the window. It's okay to do it. Yeah. However you feel is okay. This is the thing people are told. People start telling you can't feel like this, and they'll wave their finger in your face. It's not appropriate. This is not how you should feel. Who is someone to tell you how to feel? No one has that right. We don't even give ourselves the right to feel how we feel. No. We've got somebody else telling us how we should feel. This is the thing. Until people start having an honest conversation, it's okay to feel how you feel. It's not okay. The behaviour is not okay. You know, look at our society. People are acting out all over the place in many, many different ways. Yeah. Many, many different ways. And until people start having honest conversations and stop blaming. You know, we've all been pulled over by the police. This is the one thing. I don't hate the police per se. You know, they do do a tough job in tough conditions, and we also have a friend who's a police officer who probably watches.
Send it to him. Just this bit. Go on.
Delete. Yeah. Just. But like, we've all been pulled over. Speeding, are you, son? It's just the way they talk to you. Instead of actually, do you know what's going on for you? And I'm not saying they have to go into full-on, psychotherapist mode.
No.
But actually, you were speeding. Let's have an honest conversation. Well, I've got to give you a ticket, and these are the reasons why. Talk to me about it. No one wants to be told they're wrong. We were all told at school, you're wrong. And we've taken something that we were told at 5, 6, 7, 8. We believe that shit. No one likes being told that we're wrong. And if we can we can have a conversation with people about maybe what is deemed acceptable in society. And I don't even know if I agree with that statement at some point. We should be able to do what we want. Absolutely. As long as it's not going around hurting people. And actually, if I want to call someone a name, I should be able to call them a name.
Yeah.
I should, as long as I'm not picking up an axe and kind of, hacking them to death or whatever, and I'm using an extreme here. We should be able to have honest conversations and say things that we feel. We should, for me, and we've had this conversation before, the actor, what was his name? His wife died in a skiing accident. What's the film that he did where his daughter gets kidnapped?
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson, when he talked about, his friend had been raped.
Yeah.
It's just like, actually, I think that guy opened up a whole. We should be having. He thought it.
Yeah.
He did do it. He didn't act it.
He just thought it. Yeah.
Mate, you fucking break like that in front of me again, I'm going to ram you up the arse in my car.
Yeah.
Whatever. You keep tailgating, I'm going to slam my brakes on. Or you're really annoying me. I feel like punching you.
Yeah.
Thoughts and feelings. They're not real.
Just a human being.
Yeah, it's just a thought. And it does feel like we're getting into that kind of, what's the Tom Cruise film, where the thought police.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
Minority Report.
Minority Report, yeah. It's a knock at your door. What have you been thinking about, son?
Yeah. You're coming with me. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Being accepting of, people are going to make mistakes, they're going to fuck up. Some of the most graceful people I've ever seen, for a parent, you see them sometimes on TV and they've lost a child and they're just acting with grace, power. The pain they're feeling, they're holding that. They're not giving that to anyone else.
No, that's right. Yeah.
That's theirs to deal with. They own it. But the grace they speak with, or, someone that's been locked up for however many years or whatever, and then get out. And, they're not blaming people. Because I guess there's some process, especially when you've been locked up for a period of time, to keep yourself even mentally sane.
Yeah.
You've got to go through some kind of process. You can't be blaming. You're just going to get consumed with anger.
Consumed by it. It's interesting because it's funny. One of the key things that kind of jumped out when you were talking about from a bit earlier on as well, that when you had that realization that actually that maybe I've been exactly like that. I've been controlling or whatever you said. I've been exactly like that in my relationships, I've done that to people as well. And then having to sit there and just trying to, and it's still niggling at you until you actually have that light bulb moment of, and being released from it. You have your release, you cry, and you realize that. And you give yourself that compassion, which means then you can give that compassion off. You can pay that compassion forward. The key thing that keeps popping out, keeps yelling at me, is the word patience. Because patience with yourself, patience with other people, because that when you're waiting, like this is one of the things it just reminded me when I'm having that kind of that turmoil and that angst, and you feel it in your chest, and you want to act out or do something, and you're like, nope. And you just got to sit and just hang out there and just think, when's this going to drop in? Or if you're conscious enough, you can ask yourself a question, what's this about? Give me the lesson. What's the lesson? What's the lesson? Oh, man. But you have to let go of an expectation of getting it. Oh, I'm going to go to bed and it's going to drop into my head in the morning. You got to let go of that expectation. And that is really because no one teaches you that. Nobody teaches that you can, the answer or the truth, for want of a better word, will, as long as you ask for it, will be delivered to you every single time. You know, and you so when you do, but it's sitting there and not deflecting or not acting. Where it's easier to deflect for most people, it's easier to act out or whatever, because it's just you don't want to go there. You don't want to look at yourself, and for some reason you feel like it's going to be painful, and it is. The pain is real, but the suffering after that is a choice, man. That is a choice. You either choose to suffer with it, or you see it as you just seen, or you see it as like, God, thank God for that. I've got some education around myself. I know myself better now. There's more truth about me. I'm a kind of there's an unshedding. You've tipped out your rucksack, as you said. Then how is that? I don't want to say good or bad, but how can that be a negative experience? You know, moving forward. You know,
it's like I said, it is all the things that you kind of learn. You're good or you're bad. You know,
so binary, yeah.
Got an A or you've got a D, or you're in this group because we like you because you dress a certain way and you are a certain way, or you're not in any group. You're just over there with the rest. That just it's hard to expect. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter because you know you.
Yeah.
You don't need to identify with anything. Just you. And what you do is you this is another thing when you're on that path. People that you may have known for 30, 40 years, you no longer hang around with.
No.
Because they're not, it's not that they're bad people. It's not that they're bad people. I want to, they could be, for certain people, could be, and I'm not saying that. They just don't, this is what I found is with life and with relationships, and I found this in relationship before the last one, is after my brother died, I changed. Life wasn't the same for me. It was never going to be the same. We just started to pull apart. She's there. And I'm moving.
Yeah.
And the way I looked at it is like, come with me. And she's not coming. I'm not telling her this. But this is how I'm looking at it. Is kind of in my mind is I want you to come with me. And she's unable to do that. So our relationship ends.
Yeah.
And it's the same with friendships.
Yeah, it has to.
You're way over there. I want you to. I don't necessarily want you to experience the pain because no, you don't want to do that. But actually, I know that that's the part. Yeah. If it was
experience
easy,
the growth. Yeah.
If it was easy or if it was intellectual, you would have done it. You would have already done it. This is the point. If you knew it and you knew it wasn't going to be painful, you would have already done it. We're hardwired to avoid pain. Simple as that.
Yeah.
No one wants suffering.
No.
You just it's suffocating, and like you said, knowing that's the key, is knowing when you're being when you're triggering yourself. I use this example. It's like when you realize that you have got this, there's two sides to you, oscillating between the two. It's I'm going to say I'm contradicting myself. They're kind of like opposites. Or they're oscillating between the two spaces. And basically, it's like you've got this one saying, well, I know I'm this. I couldn't possibly do whatever you're accusing me of. And then there's part of just like, this is who I am. This is who I want to be. Regardless of what I do or what I have done, this is who I am. Where I want to be going with my life. I'm prepared to take on all that stuff. You oscillate between these two. It's like taking a knife and stabbing yourself in the back with it. It's just, why am I hurting? Oh, well, you're the one that's doing it. That's what suffering is. You're the one that is absolutely doing that to yourself. And then when you realize that and you still can't shake the pain, you're like, I feel like I'm going mad. And that's when you need good friends. It's when you need good friends or a mentor. I can't say that highly enough. Someone that's done it. And you'll know how they speak.
And just someone will just just resonate with you, don't they? It's a feeling. It's not like it's not a head thing. It's a cerebral thing.
It's not an intellectual concept.
No, it's definitely not.
People talk about it. I know what vulnerability means. I know what compassion means. I didn't know experience. Because I couldn't allow myself to be vulnerable because being vulnerable meant pain.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Why do I want to put myself in there? And then someone use my vulnerability against me. to use that back at you.
Yeah.
When you're in a relationship with someone and they hold that space for you, you can be vulnerable. Takes patience.
Yeah.
Do it. You know, like, I know what I should be saying. You're stuttering. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Vulnerability. Yeah. Shit. I think for me as well, it's patience, vulnerability, and I think vulnerability is those two things within that environment or within that context of what we're speaking is the highest form of bravery, for want of another word, because like you said, the majority of people don't even want to go that way, and they'll defend themselves to the back teeth. You know?
And, my counsellor once said to me, she said, "You've been courageous." I just thought courage, like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wall. Not the Lion, the Witch, Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Or I thought courage, because this is what I was taught. Courage is a man that's in battle and goes over the top, shoots and kills and all this kind of stuff, and is the hero and all this kind of stuff. And actually, and in one sense, it is, but not in such a glamorized kind of Hollywood type of way. Courage for us mere mortals is actually going in and stepping into something that is going to be painful. 9 times out of 10, you ain't going to get the outcome that you want.
Sure.
But what you do get is you get the learning from it. Many of those, it's like, I know that I'm going to step into this space and it's going to be damn painful, but I'm going to go and do it anyway, because ultimately I don't know what I'm going to get at the end of it, but I've come here. There's no other door for me to open.
Of course. Yeah.
And in order to keep going forward, I have to go through it. You can. This is what happens. Everything kind of just collapses in on itself.
It does, yeah.
Here's the door.
It. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I love that. That's very Matrix, isn't it? Just a load of rooms, one singular door. You got to keep walking through that one. The one that you just come from disappears. Yeah.
It really won't lie to you. Or it hasn't to me so far. Who am I to say it won't? But to me so far, it has not lied to me.
No.
Now, will it ever lie to me? Am I always supposed to, and the experience is good or it's completely tragic, completely changes my life? Who's not to say that's still not my journey? Even though it may not be actually what I want. It may not be taking me to where I want to go. But who's to say that's not my journey? Yeah,
of course. And I think obviously there's going to be again, it's funny because you don't want to use the highs and lows or the polar opposites of anything, but you can expect both to be present at all times. Actually, let's just say that. Do you see what I mean? So once you're comfortable with that, then you just and you can trust yourself to make those decisions and get the lessons on whatever it is to exist in that place and get the most value out of those situations, regardless. Then I was going to say you're onto a good thing, but again, it's not that. You know what I mean? But I think that's all there really is, to be honest.
Yeah, and and we talked about this the other day, and on the door it just says AFGO.
Oh yeah.
Another fucking growth opportunity. That's all it is. And that's what it is. If that's how you look at it, you're only going to be building yourself from strength to strength. And I look back and I'm like, how have I done that? How have I done that? Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't think I was capable of that. And some of the things that have held me back in my life, they're kind of falling by the wayside. It's still nervous. It's still anxious about certain things, but that's normal because I haven't done them before.
Sure.
But blocks that were in my way are starting to kind of fall to the wayside or not become such an issue anymore. Things that I can kind of just move aside if I choose.
Yeah.
And that's what you get from it. The problem is trying to explain it in language. Language it's the same as love. You can't
No, yeah.
You do your best.
Yeah.
You're limited by the language that we all have.
Super limited. Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying, is when you find someone, you just know. You absolutely just know, whether it's a coach, a counselor, a mentor, whatever it is or a friend. You meet someone, you're like, damn, I feel like I've known you before.
Yeah, for sure.
You really resonate, and then you end up being friends. There's just the knowing. Who knows what that is, but it's just knowing. And if you can, like I said, that would be the dream, is to, how do you bring that to people that are younger.
Yeah, for sure.
That's, we're in our 40s, rapidly approaching my 50s. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm only learning this now. Why wasn't I taught about vulnerability when I was 10?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah, of course.
With my life.
It's funny, yeah, you're right, because I was speaking to I was away on holiday, and Jules and I were talking to this guy, this count, and his kids are at an international school, and he was saying for their age, they are probably about 12 or 13, they are way below the normal kids in Italy with regards to sort of arithmetic and their, well, it wouldn't be English, but their languages and stuff like that. But what they're good at is that they can get, like you were saying earlier, they can go and present on something in front of 200 people. Do you see what I mean? They're when you talk to them, it's like talking to little adults, and the reason being is because they're working on their EQ first, then they put in the IQ. And for me, that makes perfect sense. If you've got someone of that emotional intelligence and they know exactly what they want, what they're good at, how to problem solve, do all those types of things, all that other stuff that you need to teach them, which is some of it's fundamentally good and some of it, well, whatever, but they're going to retain that information a lot easier, surely.
Yeah, massively.
You can have the wherewithal to do it, yeah.
I don't want to talk badly about schools. I work in a school, but it's the education system is set up for us to, for people to work. And if you look at how work is going, AI and all this kind of stuff, what's going to be left for some people?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's going to be left? You're going to need to connect with each other. With something else is going to have to happen. I don't know what that is. Something else is definitely going to have to happen around intelligence. How we connect with each other.
Yeah.
Because the jobs ain't going to be there. They're all going to be done by robots that work 24 hours a day. Don't have days off, don't get sick.
Yeah, exactly. So you're definitely for damn sure going to need to be creative, and obviously, again, that creative part of things is the first thing to get suppressed in our normal sort of state system that we do. Yeah, at the moment.
The education system. How you do. You think about what they do. They do more courses, but when we're at courses, maths, English, which you need. Like you do need those two. History, geography, but some of the stuff that you're going into, but no one in maths, no one teaches you about compound interest.
No.
Or if you get this credit card, or if you get this loan, it looks good, but actually you read the small print.
Yeah.
And people are just going out and consuming all these things. And they're worried about something that don't even exist, money.
Yeah.
People are literally taking their own lives through money.
Yeah, because they're in debt or something. Yeah. Because because there's the EQ thing. There's an attachment to something. I'm unworthy if I have this. Do you know what I mean? When actually that's not the thing. It's nice to have that, but for having it and having for whatever it is that you want, but you can't attach meaning to these external things because that's just a source of pain. Because like we said earlier, if that disappears, then what?
Yeah. And I think that's the problem. Obviously, suicide is something that that I care deeply about. I don't know if that's the right term, but or something I'm very passionate about in how that affects people. Because that was my thing. Is like I wanted to know what was going on for my brother when he decided that. And that it was in one part for me. It was very dark to be in there.
Yeah.
In that space, and something that happened to me recently, is some of the things I've been doing with my counsellor are very, very traumatic. When I go back to child experiences, and that happened in a public place for me, not too recently, and I broke. And I was told I didn't have to go back into this space, and with people I didn't know. And for the first time ever, I did, because what was happening with me breaking there was part of myself I'd suppressed, part of myself I'd left behind when I changed my name. That's how I linked it. For when I was 7 or 8, when I changed my name, I left part of myself there, and that would come up in this, this traumatic wound. And whenever it was poked or prodded at, I'd protect. There you go. That's you. That's not me. That's your stuff. And once I kind of addressed that, this huge thing just shifted for me.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. The experiences that I've had you know, and regarding, you know, that huge shift for me at that moment, you know, when I left the space and come home and kind of thought about it, is if my brother felt like that, I felt like that for a minute, say, I don't even think it was a minute, it felt long, but I don't even think it was that long. I was in absolute fear of my life. I never experienced any, I can't tell you what I was in fear of. I just knew I could be in that space and I needed to get out. If my brother felt that for any amount of time, then I totally get why he did what he did. And that goes for anybody else. If the pain of life is so painful that death is an option, it's a horrific space to be in. Even though I felt and experienced that for a short period of time, I can't imagine what it's like to live in that space.
Yeah, sure.
Energy. Where you're scared for your life. I don't want this anymore. This is what I want. You know, there are many, many people like that up in, you know, around our world. Living in that space. Painful to think about when you think about it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
As a caring human being. But also it's like, how can we stop? Not stop it, because I don't think you can totally stop it, but how can we limit that? It's about putting the money into our education system and teaching young people about emotional regulation. It's okay to think. Whatever it is that you've learned, it's okay to think what you think and feel what you think. It's not okay for behaviours to come out. That's what we need to change. That's not going to be changed at the end of a disciplining finger wagging. You are this. You are bad. I'm going to shame you. I'm going to do this to you. Nothing good has ever come of that.
Yeah, and it's interesting that most of the things are like that as well. The things that we struggle with, you know, shame, not good enough, all those doubt and fears. It's always those types of the beliefs that we have about ourselves, you know. And that's how that normally comes down. And again, that's normally passed down, or society or whatever. We're not even quite sure or asked who's actually making these things up. Why do we need to, you know, why do I actually need to follow those things? And is there another way?
You know, the question is, you know, the thing about lemmings. I never knew what a lemming was until I saw the video game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll question that. Are we? I know we don't want to admit we are, but how many thoughts are original thoughts or of our own?
Yeah, exactly.
They're coming from everywhere. We're influenced by so many things. How many times has someone said something and you've gone, actually, I get that, and it becomes yours. It becomes yours.
Yeah, it's true. Your own original thoughts. I love that, because in a sense, that's kind of what it is, isn't it? When you're stopping to think about, you know, what it is that you want for yourself, and actually, I don't want that feeling no more. Let me just sit here and either I want an answer, or I want to create something else, a different feeling, a different state, or a different sort of future for myself. That's exactly what you're doing. Yeah, fascinating.
You know, and that's where the pain in the head comes from. Is you're trying to change your mind.
Yeah, state of being.
Running.
Yeah.
Running. It's running. I don't know whether it's running when you're asleep. Who knows? The moment you wake up, that bad boy is running, talking to you.
Yeah.
You're going to stop it. You're not going. And this is the problem. You're trying to stop your thoughts. The thing is, acknowledge them. And it sounds like this Buddhist kind of, and it is. It is in that sense.
That's what they're trying to explain. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It is in that sense, but it's not that. If you're nosy, if you're inquisitive about, curious about human being, you know, you want to know, right? You know, and I've always been that. You know, I like to understand. Well, why is someone? We've had this conversation. You know, you grow up, you go out and drink. Some people go too far. They do drugs and they go too far. What is it about that one person in your friend group that goes too far? What is it about that one person that takes it to the absolute
extreme? Yeah.
Drink themselves into oblivion, or will smoke themselves into what is that about? You know, what is it that I don't want to say they're missing, or what is it that we were gifted? Because that's what I believe it is. You're gifted those things, knowledge, or experience that knowledge. What is it that you were gifted that they weren't? That makes them go down that path.
Yeah. Yes, but again, it might be something to do with the meaning that they've made as they've grown up from their formative years, isn't it? Yeah.
It could be anything. You know, used to work as a homeless outreach worker. We used to say each person's journey into homeless is unique to that individual. Trying to stick
Very much so.
on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the thing is just not going to, and it's the same for anybody who sits in their job description class. You know, as a teenager, you've got to go out and do work experience. I don't know if they do that anymore, but, you know, we had to go do work experience. Well, I want to be a sex worker.
Yeah.
Nobody says that.
No.
I want to start robbing people and take drugs. It's not an option.
No.
People, it is not an option. It just turns out. It turns
out that way. Yeah.
For them, they feel there is no other way out. Just how their thoughts and feelings about themselves are. You know, their world becomes myopic. It just, you know, focused on one thing about whatever it is they're chasing or it's missing from their life. We're all chasing something. We're all missing. Sure. That's what the journey is about.
Yeah. Reconnecting.
Reconnecting.
So, just well, two things. I just wanted to, first of all, I got one final question for you, but before I do, I just want to kind of, obviously I've known you a very long time, but I just want to acknowledge you, first of all, for taking the time out and talking on here. I knew it'd be a good one. And there we go. I knew it'd be a good session. And it's just like, brother, man, Jesus. I mean, if anyone's watching this, then you you should definitely get some value out of it, because, like you say, the journey is painful, but worth it, 100%. And it's just there's some real nuggets in this as well. So I think I need to watch this back and enjoy it again. But I just wanted to thank you and acknowledge you for all you're doing and the people that you come into contact with and serve. So last question then, what does living full mean to you?
Yeah. Before that, I need to acknowledge you as well, my friend, because, you know, you facilitated part of this journey by talking to me about the coaching course that we both done. You'd already done yours, and said, "Hey, in Swindon." And I was like, "What? There's nothing normally very good in Swindon. Where?" And it's literally, you know, just down the road. It was a 5-minute walk from where I was living. So, you know, that course literally changed my life, or allowed me to open the door to say, "This is what I want." And then once I opened the door to that, it just literally, I don't want to say it went downhill, but that would be the old way of looking at it. My life's gone to shit. It didn't go to shit. It was tough, an experience, but, you know, the gifts, you know, the thing of wanting to live the best life for my brother, you helped kind of facilitate that, or pointed the way. This is what I'm saying about mentors and people that hold space for you. That's a prime example of what I'm saying, is that you had a space for me and said, you know, check this out. Bang. And then you just you do the work yourself.
Sure.
No one else does it for you. That's the thing, is you end up doing those. I have to acknowledge you for that. So thank you.
No,
and
my
for
pleasure,
the
brother. Yeah, of course.
You know, that opportunity was any of your people that, I know the people that didn't do it, but because there was, you know, I knew the people that were there. But, you know, if you haven't done it or you're considering doing it, go and do it. It's an amazing experience, one that will live with me for the rest of my life. Of just, you know, so many things changed for me at the beginning of that year or this year. Looking like it's gone past. It does feel like a long time ago, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
But if you haven't done it or you're considering it, check it out. I know Kev's got stuff on his website, and seriously, I was worried, can I get the money? Can I get this? When you make a commitment to do something, you find it.
Yeah, exactly.
You absolutely find it. So thank you. Living full. That's a good question. I think it's about yourself. We all kind of know who we truly are. We kind of know, and we're scared, you know, of truly being ourselves. You know, as a child, you know, you're able to express at times freely. You aren't governed by social norms and cues, and you run through places and you touch stuff and you experience things that you're not, you know, your parents worry about. Oh God, they're touching and doing this. That for me is, if you can do that as an adult and work towards that, you may not be able to do that. And that's okay. But if you can work towards that freedom like a child, how they view life, how they view the world, how, you know, we all look at young babies and young children and go, there's a reason why they're pure. They've not been corrupted by us yet. We haven't ruined them, for want of a better word. As human, you know, as adults, we haven't put all this shit on them. If we can somehow get back there to live it and experiencing that in some way, that for me would be living full. Is just that, you know, I can go and make a fool of myself, which I'm starting to get better at, you know, at school, and dancing with the kids when I'm on camera and making a fool of myself. I love those people that are just, they'll do anything anywhere and they're not worried about it. That would be for me, for me living full.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, so just to quickly touch on that thing about that, you know, seeing things through. I've always been mesmerized by young people, and especially the, kind of the toddlers and babies and stuff. And it's the awe at something that we've seen 1,000 times. Like, yeah, it's a book, or you know, it's a bottle, or it's a whatever, just some random stuff. But they see everything through that, like say, that innocence, and I think that's where, for some reason, we think we have to be different, when actually, if we were to reconnect with that innocence that sits there, our very core within our hearts, then you just see how the world changes for you. Then, you know?
I think a good question for, you know, people that are watching to ask is, regardless of how actually old you are, how old do you feel?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I can't really put a number on it, but I definitely ain't over 20.
No, me either. No, I'm a teenager, I think. Yeah.
I'm a teenager somewhere.
And counting. I want to be keep going down.
Keep going backwards.
Yeah, keep going backwards. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
More power to you. But I'm definitely not. I'm a teenager.
Same. Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I think, never let go of that. Yes, we are adults and we have to do the things that we're supposed to do, you know, and be this way in the world. But never lose that. Never lose. You know, I tell myself I'm going to live to 100. I don't know whether I am. I tell myself I want to live to 100, and why not? I want it. I want to experience. I want to speak to my great grandchildren. You know, so
awesome, brother. Thank you very much. I'm going to let you go and wrap this up. I'm looking forward to getting this all edited down and recorded and posted up as well. So again, thanks a lot, man.
No worries, man.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Bye.